These ladies, and I'm a WNBA fan, they cannot have this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse.
In the world of sports, timing is everything. And right now in the WNBA, all eyes are on Caitlin Clark. A rookie? Sure. But one whose shadow stretches well beyond her stat lines, whose presence on the court is rewriting the league's entire trajectory. What should have been a triumphant moment for women's basketball instead turned into a battleground of narratives, suspicions, and controversy. And as the dust began to settle, few voices rang louder than Charles Barkley's, sharp, blunt, and utterly unapologetic. It all started with noise. Not the kind from the roaring crowd or the swish of the net, but the kind that comes from behind keyboards and on viral social posts. During the Indiana Fever's season opener, Angel Reese alleged she was the target of racial taunts from Fever fans. The WNBA acted swiftly, launching an investigation and releasing statements condemning racism. To many, it felt like a moment of urgency, a league standing up against hate. But to Barkley, it felt like something else entirely, a mess. Some of these players need to stop being jealous and start being grateful for what Caitlin Clark is doing for this league, he said, not just defending Clark, but indicting the very tone the WNBA had allowed to fester around her rise. Barkley's voice carried the frustration of a fan watching the league stumble over its own growth. A fan who knew this moment could have been the beginning of something great, if only it had been handled differently. Caitlin Clark had just led her team to a commanding 93-58 win over the Chicago Sky. She logged a triple-double. It was, by all accounts, a breakout professional debut, except no one was talking about the game. Instead, headlines screamed about an investigation, about racism, about a feud that hadn't existed until someone suggested it might. To Barkley, it was petty. Jealousy, plain and simple. They couldn't have messed this up any worse if they tried, he said. And he had a point. Clark, in her quiet, focused way, had elevated the league's visibility overnight. Draft ratings were up 400%, ticket sales jumped by 93%. Merch? Up 500%. Her jersey was already #1 in sales. The numbers weren't just impressive, they were unprecedented. And yet here was the league, embroiled in a controversy that had no legs, squandering the goodwill and momentum that Clark had helped generate. Barkley's frustration simmered into anger as he watched the narrative shift away from the court. He didn't just blame the WNBA for launching an investigation based on online whispers. He blamed the players, too. Those who seemed more interested in taking shots at Clark than seizing the moment she'd given them. You can go at her hard on the court, he said. But off the court, recognize what she's doing. She's filling your wallets. She's bringing the world to your doorstep. For Barkley, Clark's presence wasn't a threat. It was a gift. A Steph Curry moment. A LeBron moment. The kind of rare athlete who doesn't just play the game but changes it. Steph didn't make people jealous, he made people money, Barkley snapped. Clark can do the same if you let her. The investigation, when it concluded, only validated his concerns. The WNBA found no evidence to support the claims of racial abuse. Not a single audio clip, not one eyewitness account. The accusations that had hijacked a historic debut were baseless. But instead of offering an apology to the fans wrongfully accused, the league released a sterile statement. No remorse, no accountability, just silence where there should have been atonement, and the fans noticed, especially in Indiana, where Fever supporters felt unfairly maligned, accused of racism without cause. Barkley wasn't alone in calling it out. Fans on social media echoed his sentiment, some even threatening boycotts of other WNBA games. The damage had been done, not just to the league's credibility, but to its relationship with the very people it needed to survive and grow. This league has never turned a profit, Barkley reminded everyone. You don't go accusing your own fans of racism without proof. His tone was scorched earth. Because to him, the controversy wasn't just a distraction, it was self-inflicted sabotage. What could have been the dawn of a new era had been marred by division and defensiveness. Barkley had warned from the beginning that focusing on anything but basketball would hurt the league. And now, even with Clark's heroics on the floor, the headlines were still about fallout. The numbers continued to roll in, stacking up behind Barkley's argument like damning evidence. Without Caitlin Clark, the league's growth from 2022 to 2023 was 40%. With her, viewership up 180%. Ticket sales up 93%. What Clark achieved in 5 weeks would have taken the league 5 years on its previous trajectory. Yet despite that, Clark became a lightning rod, not for her talent, but for the jealousy she unwittingly inspired. Barkley didn't deny that some WNBA veterans might feel overlooked. After all, they'd worked for years to build something, and now a rookie was reaping the spotlight. But he called on them to see the bigger picture. "She's not replacing you," he said. "She's bringing the world to you." He referenced Steph Curry again, the way his rise redefined the NBA. Nobody hated him. They embraced it. They capitalized? Why? Barkley asked. Was the WNBA doing the opposite? Clark wasn't just another player. She was the needle, not just moving it. Her every game, every highlight, every media appearance was a multiplier, and Barkley made sure to hammer it home. This was the moment. Either the league embraced her and soared, or it let ego and infighting drag it back down. He wasn't wrong. Sponsors were watching. Networks were watching. Fans who'd never tuned in before were suddenly locked in. Clark had made the WNBA relevant in a way no one else ever had. But the league was at a crossroads, one path leading to explosive growth, the other to squandered potential. Barkley's message was clear. Stop tearing her down. Stop turning every on-court clash into an off-court scandal. Let her elevate the game, let her lead. Because she wasn't just making herself a star, she was creating space for everyone to shine. And the evidence? It was everywhere. Clark's arrival coincided with massive gains across the board. Ticketing, merchandising, TV deals, exposure. This wasn't a coincidence, it was cause and effect, and Barkley knew it. This is how you get better facilities. This is how you get charter flights. This is how you get paid. All of it comes from attention, and she's giving it to you in spades. So when the WNBA refused to apologize, when it chose silence over accountability, Barkley wasn't surprised, just disappointed. Because for all the league's talk about progress and empowerment, it had failed in the most basic way, protecting the truth, the game, and its most promising ambassador. As the story faded from the front pages and the games went on, the lessons remained. Caitlin Clark wasn't going anywhere. Her talent, her work ethic, her unshakable focus, they were only going to grow. And Barkley, for all his bluntness, had been right all along. You don't build a league by attacking your star. You build it by letting her shine and letting others shine with her. Because this isn't just Clark's moment. It's the WNBA's, and the only question now is whether they'll seize it or waste it.